Everything tangible that human societies have built has derived from a single point, from an idea. But unfortunately, for every idea that comes to fruition, thousands upon thousands fade into the ether, never to see the light of day. I'm very fortunate to say in this scenario that wasn't the case. The driver mod guru behind Mod House Audio, Ryan, has been modding headphones for a very, very long time. But always in the back of his mind was the idea, I would like to build my own headphones to my own specifications and my own tuning from the ground upwards. So for the last half dozen years, the thought and the process was percolating in the back of his mind in his workshop. And finally, in September 2023, we get this. This is the Mod House Tungsten planar headphone entering the flagship market today. I'm Koji CO. These are the headphones. Welcome to ConvinceMeAudio. I would like to extend a massive thank you to Ryan for sending these units in for review and for allowing CMA to be involved in the process behind the scenes, giving feedback, beta testing the last few variants of this remarkable final finished product. You may be asking why there are two units on the table right now, and that is the story. So, these tungstens have had revisions over the last few years, and they have been tested throughout the community and brought to shows so that people can have a quick listen and see what they thought, give feedback to Ryan, and he went and adjusted and tested and tuned and fine-tuned until we ended up with a final product, this one, the Tungsten V9. Every single part of this headphone had to be made from scratch. Every nuance of tuning had to be done by Ryan. He has built this headphone from the ground upwards. Let's do a quick hardware tour. It's a traditional headphone design that most manufacturers in the planar realm seem to be adopting. We have a head strap with a spring steel headband. This headband is laser cut and outsourced in the United States and bent and shaped by Ryan himself. Dropping down below, we have Alcantara from Italy. This is laser cut by Ryan and stitched by his wife and his sister-in-law. This is all done in-house. So we have the United States, we have Italy. These rods are outsourced to a company near himself. The drivers are built by his partner and friend in the United States. The pads are a custom variant of the Caldera from ZMF. So Ryan has close ties to Zach. As you can see, the pads come off magnetically. Thank you so much for that, Ryan. I really do appreciate it. Allowing you to pad roll in the future. The pads themselves have this faceplate on the back here, and it allows it to sit in the baffle like this, magnetically clicking into place with absolutely no problems. Very easy. Then we come to the drivers. These are planar drivers at roughly around 130 ohms and 76 to 78 dB sensitivity. Unlike Sesvara's and some of the other planars, it's not current that's the problem, it's voltage. So you need to make sure that your amplifier does provide enough voltage. I'll put the full specification down here and a list of amplifiers, but we will discuss that in the sound section anyway. Dropping to the bottom of the cups, we have these slanted 3.5 balanced entries so that the adapters, 3.5 adapters, sit flush inside the cup. Even if you were to drop the headphones, these adapters will not break inside the headphone. Fantastic design there. And seeing as I've got two on the table and I've experienced another couple during the beta testing, every single one of these units has looked identical to the previous. So his attention to detail is absolutely spectacular. I couldn't tell the difference hardware-wise. I literally had to put a little elastic band around the headphone on this side so that I could tell them apart, to be honest with you. Well done, Ryan. It's kind of insane how some of the other manufacturers who have multiple people testing each headphone and still come out of the factory looking a little wonky and slightly different from another. That's incredible. The pads themselves are very comfortable. Obviously, they're the Alcantara pads, and let's place these on our noggin like this. They are extremely comfortable, very, very open. And what is amazing about these is that the actual focus of the pressure of the pads resides on the circumference of the pads on the outside rather than the inside. So you feel as though that the pads are literally enormous, HD800S size. Incidentally, on the ZMF Caldera, they feel a lot tighter and smaller on the head. But on this, they feel more roomy, and I don't understand. It's like a touch of magic. Genuinely, I really, really do appreciate this. And it was the very first thing I noticed when I placed these on my head. These headphones are all day wearing. I've had absolutely no issues whatsoever. They're very, very comfortable. The drivers in the tungsten are using 24 karat gold from Italy. So, between the United Kingdom, Italy and the United States, 95% of these headphones are built. Nuts and bolts and everything comes from China apparently, but predominantly a US construction. So let's place this one back here. You get a nice Pelican case with the unit, and for something very, very special, you get this. This is a Viking weave cable from Skedra that comes with the headphones themselves, terminating in this XLR very nice twisted cable. I'm genuinely surprised. I think it might be some of the nicest stock cables, despite of price, of any flagship or super flagship headphone. I am very, very impressed. These 3.5 jacks seem very sturdy to me. The XLR seems very, very nicely constructed. Good strain relief. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. Performance is very different to the price point, is what I'm going to say. They might be the best price to performance ratio planars in 2023. These are $1,600 for the single-sided, and there's also a double-sided that is $2,000. Both of these units here are the single-sided. Okay, so that's the build quality and comfort and specifications. What about the important stuff? How do these headphones sound? In a nutshell, they have bulldozed their way through the lower tier flagship category, leaving nothing but remnants and dust in their wake. This includes the Focal Clear MG, OG, LCDx, Arya. Technically, these surpass all of those. Let's discuss what equipment we used to test these headphones. For the Mod House Tungsten, I used the Sigphrid from Torino back there, the Holo Audio Bliss, the CMA 15 from Q-Style, and obviously the LTA Z10E. For DAC, I used the Holo Audio May, the Rockner Wave Dream, and the Apirio's internal DACM Pre. So I've ran the tungstens to the limits of their capability and given it the best source I possibly could here at CMA. I didn't feel the need to replace the cable. These ones from Viking Weave seem to be doing a fantastic job, and they're ergonomic, they don't keep their shape, and it's a fantastic performer. So this has been pretty decent, genuinely. Except on the LTA Z10E, where I had to use an adapter to go from 6.3 to the 4.4 XLR balanced. with all of that out of the way, it's time we discussed how these sound. The Mod House Audio Tungsten is a neutral bright headphone with a slight warmth in the mid-range and a touch of darkness in this frequency. They are extremely punchy, excellent sub-bass, good detail retrieval, and most importantly, they stage very, very well in width and in depth. Their sound characteristic very much reminds me of the ZMF Verite Open with the leather BE2 pads, honestly. These seem to be the planar version of those dynamic headphones. If somebody had told me they belong to the same family, I would have gone, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Except that these have a bigger stage in width and in depth. Previously, I mentioned the LCDx, the focal clear, etc. that these headphones sit in. These are a $1,600 headphone. And honestly, these headphones leave those in the dust. Every element of sound within the stage is present, nicely detailed, and it's a smooth sound signature that genuinely works with all genres. The people who would benefit the most from these headphones out of everybody, I think, are the people who are jumping up from the mid-fi category of HD6XX, HD600, etc. Those people who have got their eyes set on AUDEZE LCDx, etc. and go, okay, I need a flagship headphone now. I need something that performs extraordinarily well. I need the next step up. And I'll be honest with you, from those headphones to these might be some of the largest you will make, because these do not perform like $1,600 headphones. These firmly sit in the $2,000 to $3,300 category, without a doubt. These are competing with Verite Open, these are competing with the Calderas, these are competing with the Diana V2, these are competing with the Stellias. Not only are they comfortable, but they're large sounding, they're engaging, and with that, let's break down the frequency response and the tonality and the general performance of these headphones with a song. One of my favorite songs at the moment, Billie Eilish, Lovely. This rich textural vocal from this artist is very much alive, prominent and visible here on the mid-range category in the stage. If the track requires an intimate setting, it has the capability to collapse and come close. But if you are listening to another of her songs live, it has the ability to reproduce the live atmosphere, a wide stage, and set back the vocals over there, way in front of you. I always felt there was a touch of HD800S about these headphones alongside the ZMF Verite Open. Their ease of reproduction of sound, the quickness of the drivers, and in this category's resolvability, it's very impressive. But what I love, I think, most about Tungsten is the mid-range. It tends to articulate the vulnerability of female singers, bring out the timbre of male vocals, and show you the heart of the song so that you're not always concentrating on technicality, though it has it in spades, but on the song itself. And due to the smooth sound signature, you can throw any genre of music on these songs, including metal, and it provides good impact, excellent sub-bass, deep, all the way down to 25 Hz, 20 Hz, 30 Hz, no problem. I'm going to list a couple of tracks for you down below that you can check out, especially a classic track where a double bass is playing, and genuinely the reproduction of the atmosphere, the reproduction of those 20 Hz tones, and the resonances of the body of the instrument. I can't believe for $1,600 you get this performance in 2023. It's kind of scary. I genuinely think I prefer these headphones over the final D8000 Pro. I have not heard the LE yet in-house, only at shows, and I'm taking that with a pinch of salt. But the D8000 Pro OG, at $4,000, I would take tungsten over it. Not only for the comfort, openness of design, and the ease of use for a daily wear, but for that beautiful mid-range as well. For EDM, Monster Cat, for example, you got good articulation, very smooth treble, very, very, very excellent imaging. Every element of sound has its own stage within the stage field itself. Nothing impeaches on another, and if your amplification allows for it, you will have a very punchy, sub-bass, full-sounding, tonally dense experience. This neutral, bright sound signature is yet slightly dark in the mid-range, providing this sort of twilight feeling to the soundscape. And it really is conducive to a good experience of non-fatiguing and relaxing sound. Okay, let's put this headphone up against some of its competition. LCDx, for example, Arya HD800S focal clear. First and foremost, setting aside the Arya, the others are easier to drive. These are like Sesvaras. They are very hard to drive, so you've got to bear that in mind and consider your amplifiers when making your purchase decision. When that is in place, these have a tendency to scale up tremendously, the way Arya does, the way Sesvara does, etc. So it's only as good as the equipment you put it on. Bear that in mind. But if we are comparing it to the LCDx, I would say these have more punch, more detail, more stage, and not only that, the backing vocals are as present as the center vocals, so that every element of the vocals are realistic. Timbre is better than LCDx without a doubt. I think the focal clear punches harder, but I think sub-bass on tungsten digs deeper. It's a much, much bigger sound. The drivers are huge, not to mention the articulation of the drivers and how quick they are and how light they are is fantastic. Detail retrieval, I think I would give it to HD800S over tungsten on high-end equipment, but this might be down to the frequency response of the HD800S. Not only does it resolve very well, but the actual slightly brighter sound signature in the upper mid-range, etc., tends to lead into that false sense of, okay, this has a lot more detail, though they are very detailed. Obviously the HD800S. I think these are less grainy than Aryas. Aryas tend to sound a little grainy. That's the Arya V2, by the way. The Stealth and the Organics have not come in for review just yet. So, HD800S has the largest stage, then Tungsten, then Arya, V2, because I heard Organic and it sounded pretty small. Then I would put the Clear MG, then LCDx. Sub-bass performance, digging low, deep into that sub-bass category. Tungsten on top, then LCDx, then Arya, though it might be tied with LCDx if you're powering Arya correctly, but it's not as impactful than the other two boys. Imaging, Focal does imaging extremely well, so does HD800S, but the presence of the instruments on the stage, I would give to Tungsten first, hand in hand with HD800S, then Arya, then the Clears, then LCDx. Imaging within the stage, movements of sound within the stage, the holographic nature of imaging, I would give to Arya and Tungsten first, then HD800S, then the Clears, then LCDx. But how about the category above this? I stated that this is as good as a $3,300 headphone. Taking Verite Open into account, this has a bigger stage. Impact I would give to them as a tie. Sub-bass, I would definitely give it to Tungsten, but it requires the power to pull that out. Verite Open is a lot easier to drive. Detail retrieval, I think here they're on point. Against the Diana V2, Tungsten has a bigger stage. More sub-bass, more impactful, but Diana V2 can kick its heels when you put it on a very good amp like the benchmark AHP2. They were a lot more power hungry than I remember. For the very first headphone that Ryan has built from scratch, due to hard work, determination, this is the best price to performance ratio headphone in 2023. What are the caveats though? The only caveat, I think, seeing as this is only $1,600, is the drivability. You are driving a headphone like Arya, V2 or Sennheiser. These are very hard to drive. There are amplifiers on the market that can do it, sub 1,000. I'll make a list for you in the description down below so you can actually pick the right amp for you in the sub $1,000 category if you're in that region. But if you're in the category above, like Bliss, Sigphrid, HM1 can't drive it. It doesn't have enough voltage. Head Trip 465, etc. I heard it on the Mass Kobo 465 at CanJam London. That was something special. That was fantastic. But here's a little secret. I think if you use a decent power amp like Purify or AHP2, I think these have more performance to give in the sub-bass category than even Sigphrid at 5 watts into 32 ohms, Z10E or Bliss. I think they need the headroom. I think on every amp here, apart from Sigphrid, I feel as though it was pushing the amps to its uttermost limits. So that is my only caveat. Bear in mind, they're hard to drive. Otherwise, these have come out of the gate swinging. And we haven't even started on the double-sided tungstens. In conclusion, should you buy the tungstens? If you're jumping up from the mid-fi category, sub 1,000, this is the first headphone you should be buying before considering your next headphone. I don't think you should touch anything else until you get to $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 category. And even then, it still has words for you. It still has a conversation piece. That's how highly I prize these headphones. Well done, Ryan. Let's do the scores. Build quality. Seen as this is literally made in a workshop in somebody's house. He built it, he designed it, he outsourced every part and put it together himself and made sure that every part of the quality control checks are done by him, tuning done by him, design of drivers by him. 5 tigers out of 5. Comfort, 5 tigers out of 5, without a doubt. It's very comfortable. Price point, 5 tigers out of 5. Ease of use and drivability, 3 tigers out of 5. They are extremely hard to drive. Overall performance. These, including this incredible cable that probably costs like 300 quid by itself, because it's made in the UK, handmade by Skedra himself. We've got plenty of his cables here at CMA. These are, despite the hard to drive nature, a solid 4 tigers out of 5 for the single-sided. These are incredible. It's not often an audio product makes me smile, because I get to be in a very fortunate position of actually testing pretty much everything the industry deems incredible, from Aperio, Shanxinia, HE1, Sennheiser 1266, and the list is utterly endless. So you become a bit jaded and a bit desensitized to these things. But when price to performance comes up, you can't overlook it because it won't allow you to. So the tungstens, the twin pulse from Spirit Torino, those IEMs, these are some of the best price to performance ratio this year. I am so honored to have been part of the beta testing, part of the discussion. I've been chatting to Ryan literally for the last 9 months in regards to these. He has put his blood and sweat into it, and you can tell. And there's still more to come. These are only the first of many, many more headphones to come in the future, I'm sure. Congratulations from CMA. You have done an incredible job. If you like reviews such as these, and if you want to know about these headphones before it goes live, like we've been talking about the tungstens in the last 9 months, if you're part of our Patreon, you will join our private Telegram chat where we discuss all of these things as they come into land. If not, your like, your share, your subscription is all I require from you, if possible. It will allow the channel to grow, bring more equipment in for you guys, and we can debunk some of the myths and some of the ridiculousness of this hobby, hopefully with common sense. Until the next one. Peace.